Hey guys, Bob Trade Genius here. It's the 28th of April, one more trading day in April, and we off into May. And April is supposed to be a positive month from a probability standpoint, but it's 2022. And of course, it's not. Today was an absolutely insane day in the market. They ramped it up for the Apple report all day, twice overnight. They had a big move, sell off, big move up. Apple reported. I'll get to Apple in a second. I'll get to the ES in a second. And the report was they beat, but nothing too exciting. And China supply chain issues are coming up. I don't care how they try to put the lipstick on that pig, but it's a problem. And it's going to get worse. And I'll talk about some other things in a second here. But the one that blew me away today actually was oil up again. Now, this area in the 93 to 95 area is major, major, major support. We bounced off this thing like four times as we keep making lower highs. Now, we pushed up again out of that zone. Now, if we get over 108 for oil, it brings back 112 to 116 dollars a barrel. Now, there's a problem because, in case you guys haven't noticed, we had a negative GDP print. They predict that, all the money we spend on the government for our Bureau of Economic Analysis, they predicted a 1.5% print. We had a negative 1.5% print. A lot of it has to do with trade. People like try to dismiss that. Oh, it's a funny number, but exports were down significantly. And you have companies that export with higher input costs and they're not getting the sales done. Our dollar is going sky high and it's going to have a multiplier effect. So you have a dollar going up, affects exports, and you have oil going up, affects the consumer, and we have a GDP that's going into recession. Houston, we have a problem. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Jerome Powell tries to dust this off. China is making life very difficult for us, through their fake pandemic, lockdown, whatever that is they're doing. It's going to cause us great grief. It's going to cause China even greater grief in 2 years when everybody and their brother decides, you know what? China's just not worth it. It's cheaper to produce in Mexico for the U.S. markets. And you're going to see wholesale movement of prices, of manufacturing out of China into Vietnam and into Mexico and probably Indonesia and probably some in India. But I don't know, China is cutting their own throat here for some bizarre reason. They think they're dropping a tree down on our house, but I think it's going to fall on theirs. So something to keep an eye on. But yeah, so oil's an issue. So let's go look at ES here. Is that this market was insane. So we pushed down into, basically a minus 1.5 standard deviation move off of the Bollinger Band of the moving average, which is what I look at as oversold and overbought. So we got deeply oversold here early last week. So we got the bounce, but the bounce is only pushing us back into resistance. So there was no follow through whatsoever on the Apple news. None. Amazon reported and they missed. Okay. So it's telling us that consumer discretionary is going to take a hit against consumer staples. And even consumer staples are going to be a problem. It's going to be down to eating cheap stuff. But service sector discretionary spending is going to get whacked when you have rent and you have energy and you have food and you have medical absorbing your entire income. You can't afford discretionary spending. That has a couple of effects. One, macro, all those people are going to probably lose their jobs. Number one. Number two, is going to cause great hardship in the United States because it's a significant portion of our GDP. And finally, it's mental because you don't want to work to live. You want to work to live and have a few nice things for yourself. And people can't have it. And I know a lot of people think, hey, it's the poor, that always happens. But the middle class is feeling it now. And then soon the politicians are going to feel it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how long, excuse me, Jerome Powell can make this thing happen and thread the inflation needle at the same time. We're not in Kansas anymore. You like how I'm mixing all my metaphors today? So I'll figure out maybe a couple more movie memes I can throw at you before this is done. But it's a problem. And so energy's still the play. One of the things that I've been shifting into personally is into TLT. I'm going to probably add again this week. I've already made my first position on it. I just don't think they're going to be able to lift the 10-year yield up much higher than it is. And I know that's the TLT is not the 10-year, but it's good enough for me. And so it's going to. I think we're going to see a squeeze on the yield curve. It's going to flatten, maybe go inverted, and that's going to be a problem for the banks, and it's going to be a problem for the economy. So this is a mess. The Biden administration doesn't know how to increase supply. They don't know how to do it. These are liberal Democrats. All they know how to do is take and steal. They don't know how to make and invent and create. It's just not who they are. And so these are pie sharers. They're not pie growers. And so it's going to just cause a lot of angst. And I made a prediction on a different podcast I was on. I said we'll be in a recession by the fall. I may have to move it up 3 months in light of this negative GDP print. It is not good news. Not good news at all. So just keep that in mind. My biggest holding personally is CCJ. CCJ has been giving me grief. I think it's down 20%. I saw calls against it every week, so I really don't care too much about these wiggles because over 2 years I've paid entirely the entire cost of owning CCJ. And then I have it for life, and I just can keep rolling calls against it and generate income. So it hit a support area here and had a bit of a bounce. It went green, has a nice hammer. My expectation is now we should get a bounce. I think they'll have good earnings, and uranium is not going anywhere. It's going to just continue to get acquired because it's in deficit. The second biggest position, the biggest position in our family is this is my trading account is ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil's in beast mode, and the energy names are in beast mode. And it's just amazing. One of the other positions I have is Suburban Propane. Again, I did a dippy do, 8.8% dividend yield. Not bad. In this day and age with a product that is in demand. And I would encourage you to get your propane early for the summer if you have RVs or you like to barbecue. Get propane because the rumor is that it is in short supply. And there might be allocations coming on it, and you'll be not happy trying to do a barbecue, and you can't get your propane tank and your grill to work. So I don't even have propane in my house, but I have propane tanks. So negotiation with my brother-in-law so we could swap wine for propane this summer if we need to. But I have a charcoal grill, I have a smoker, and I have a gas grill. So I'm ready for any eventuality this summer. And it's some things you guys got to keep in mind too. The other thing is I finally closed Sark out. We had a nice run on Sark, but that inverted hammer up there is telling me maybe too far too fast, but another beautiful move on Sark. And I think now we'll just have to see what it does. That lady has made a mess of her investments. And I think this bounce we're going to get might be very short lived and it could be problematic. And so tomorrow or the weekend, I'll throw out these high price of sales ones again to you guys, just to remind you is that you're going to make a lot of money in the downturn on these high price of sale companies. They're just not going to be able to justify their valuations, and it'll cushion the blow on the things that you're long and you don't want to sell. So anyway, I want to thank you for listening. If you want to check us out, go to tradelikeagenius.com. We just help people make money nearly every day in the market, and we'll teach you how to have good practices, and also we'll throw you trades every day. Have a good one. Have a great night. Bye-bye.